My name is Greg Pennington. Good evening to everyone. I am a financial empowerment housing counselor with the San Francisco Housing and Development Corporation, SFHDC, to start. Want to begin by introducing you and letting you know about a special part of the program here where we can actually collaborate and have, what is the term? Someone to translate for you, translators. And if you can go to that next slide and maybe bring the person on who will let us know what is available.
Buenas noches, yo soy una de las intérpretes al español. Puedes seleccionar los servicios de interpretación seleccionando el mapa mundo en la parte inferior de la pantalla cuando se enciendan los servicios y selecciona el idioma español para escuchar la interpretación simultánea. También puede escuchar solo el idioma interpretado haciendo clic en silenciar el audio original.
收聽口譯喺會議同埋講座網絡控制項目裏邊咧，點擊 Interpretations 口譯，按一下你想要嘅聽嘅語言，你可選擇。如果只想係聽口譯語言嘅話，請點關閉原始音訊。
Next slide.
I was hoping to hear French, but that's okay. My name is Greg Pennington. My name should be in the spot of Belinda Racklin. Belinda's not available right now, but hopefully I can fill in her stead. This is a presentation on California down payment assistance programs. Keep in mind that if you're a first-time home buyer, the pursuit of obtaining a down payment is probably one of the most difficult things you can do in California. Down payment assistance is literally that, down payment assistance. And we have two people who are experienced that I believe can be part of what you call your team. We have a mortgage loan originator with an extremely strong background in mortgages and a realtor, real estate agent who also, to be blunt, your team is going to consist of you, your realtor, and your lender working to get you into the home. So we have two experienced people here, knowledgeable on down payment assistance, what it takes in the contract on the realty side, what it takes to putting the loan together on the other side. And so hopefully we'll go deep on this. If you could go to the next slide, please. Homeownership SF is a consortium of 5 nonprofits located in San Francisco, organized in 2009. Everybody puts their head together to help people do things like buy a home or rent a home and all the education necessary in between. This is put on by Homeownership SF. You'll see their website later on, and it can direct you to any of these particular agencies spread out throughout San Francisco that once again can provide resources for renters, resources for home buyers, and resources for homeowners, education, counseling, the entire gamut. Next slide, please. Okay, what is a HUD-approved home buyer education? HUD, part of FHA, basically sets guidelines and structure for housing counselors and other groups to help people get into homes. They are also an insurer of loans. Most down payment assistance programs require that you go through a home buyer program with one of our 5 nonprofits. This is a HUD approved counseling program. It does work in San Francisco, but you have to ask other people. if you go outside of the area, do they accept our HUD licensed counseling facilities that we offer? It is an optional program, but if you want to partake in any of the California down payment assistance programs, to be very blunt, it is not something that is optional, primarily because home buyer education is considered to be a type of down payment, believe it or not. In other words, by putting less money down, the feeling is that if you have an education and learn all the nuances of everything that you need to do, it's like a down payment. So we will help you get other sources and provide another way, combined with the education, to make you a knowledgeable homeowner who won't default. Okay, next slide, please. I'm going to introduce to you Miss Marie Sturgill. Marie has a very, very strong background. She lists at the top that you see there, the National Coalition, I believe, 100 Black Women in San Francisco, just kind of a rock star organization, as well as the African American Chamber of Commerce, the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce, and Urban Financial Services, of which I'm a member as well. So we're really, really pleased to have Marie come and talk with you today and give you her knowledge on the real estate side. Marie?
Thank you, Gregory. I am just so honored to be a part of this because building wealth through homeownership is a key and cornerstone. So I want to thank everyone for taking time out of your evening to be here. So I know that everyone that is on this call is actually seeking to understand what is it going to take to become a homeowner. Next slide, please. And so I wanted to say that because the organization that I'm representing, because I do wear many hats, I am a realtor, but I advocate, and it's important for the organization Homeownership SF and all of the collaboration that they do to put on this, and as well as an entity that I am representing, National Coalition of 100 Black Women San Francisco chapter, along with Cal Money Smart, which is a part of the state tier that gives grants. And so the Coalition of 100 Black Women's economic programs focus on financial literacy, family wealth building, and entrepreneurship. NCBW's empowerment programs include comprehensive workshop and seminars that promote economic self-sufficiency. Sisternomics is the new NCBW physiological mindset, our path to economic empowerment. So I want to thank everyone for being a part, and thanking Homeownership FS for inviting us to be a part. Okay, you can go to the next slide, please. And so the benefits of homeownership: tax benefits. You may be able to deduct interest you pay in your mortgage. We know that that building wealth through homeownership is a key cornerstone. So appreciation: the price of existing homes increased by 5.4% annually from 1968 to 2019 on average. Sources from that's the National Association of Realtors. In the Bay Area, it is significantly higher. Equity: a portion of your monthly payment goes toward paying off the balance of your loan, thus increasing your equity, which is key. Savings: money you invest in your home is a great long-term savings plan that can be realized when you sell. And then predictability: unlike rent, principal and interest payments on fixed rate mortgage never can increase. So we know that a lot of times you're renting, right? And so that your landlord can go up on your rent. And so that when you own, you have the predictability that you are not having to worry about that. And then freedom: since you own the property, you're able to remodel and improve it how you see fit. Next slide, please. And say, are you ready to buy? And so the first thing that we need to know is, and when you will Harry, who is our lender, who I work with, and he's been around for a long time, and he'll speak next. You need to have steady income and low to medium debt, cash for down payment and closing, 2 months of pay stubs and bank statements, 2 years with same company or same industry, and he will get more into that. And so, next slide, please. Market is in a transition. This is what I like to talk about. Longer market times, fewer offers, possibly becoming a buyer's market. Is there a buyer's market now? And I have to say that, yes, it's transitioning to a buyer's market. Me and Harry, we have closed deals together. And where now, before 6-7 months ago, you could not get buyer's concession to your non-reoccurring closing costs, where now we can get your closing costs. So because when the interest rates are higher, then it becomes a buyer's market. So that the fact that you're not competing on properties where you're getting multiple offers, and the fact that now you're competing with buyers, like you're needing down payment assistance. And so that they're going to take a cleaner offer with no one that needs down payment assistance or not asking for closing costs. But because interest rates are higher, this is a great opportunity. Like now I've had sellers, the listing agent calling me back and say, hey, are you a buyer? Are you interested still? Because we don't have any offers on the property, and we'll go over that. So currently there's opportunity. Rates are hard, but the picture is bigger than rates. So that's what we like to talk about, and that's what I do with my buyer's consultation, is talk about the rates are bigger. It's bigger than the rates. And so right now, yes, this is a buyer's, and it's turning into a buyer's market now. Next slide, please. And so now this is a snapshot of, I know that a lot of you go on to Zillow, Trillia, or Redfin, but the MLS is what we use as realtors, is the multiple listing service. And so what it does is we're not going to cherry pick. So when you look at Zillow or the Trillia, they're possibly going to cherry pick and give you properties that it's like, oh, it just hit the market and everybody wants you just and I get buyers that will send me just the properties that just have hit the market. But now I can go ahead and send you a snapshot and be able to say, no, this is what everything that's on the market. So like now I said, this one for San Francisco for residential, it was 112. I went through properties for 500,000 if there were any, up to 1.2. So it'll give you a snapshot, and then DOM, if you looked at DOM, tells me the date on market. So I'll be able to, or a realtor, or be able to tell you based upon the date on market. And so what the flexibility is going to be there. And so like I work with a lender like Harry Payne, primary residential market. So I'm going to be able to say, I need my buyer to get seller non-reoccurring closing costs. I'm going to be advocating and putting that on the table now. And on the table is definitely realistic now. That's why it's transitioning to a buyer's market, because anybody that's listing their property now, a lot of times, because it's a buyer's market, that means that you have the upper hand, and then you can get your closing costs there. So you can go to the next slide, please. That was just one snapshot. So this is not, I'm not going to print all of the slides. And then for condos, the same. So I just put up, and then it tells me for residential condos that for San Francisco, I only did for San Francisco, I can do all over California. I mean, and so I did in counties and everything else, but specifically because this is SF home ownership. Home ownership SF. I wanted to just focus on San Francisco, but we can broaden this out to any out of San Francisco in any counties throughout California. So condos, and then so you can look and see what the new, and that says new. And so if it's active, but then we see the DOM. Can you put where it says DOM, which is date on market? That's over by list sale. That's the price, and then DOM. So when and now we're in this virtual space where I'll set up a buyer's consultation or what a realtor that you're working with, ask them and say, can we do a buyer's consultation? Can I a Zoom? Because you really want to get personal with this to be able to, I need to know specifically what it is that you're really looking for, what your purchase price is. Once we look at what you can qualify for based upon your credit, your capacity to pay, and we'll look at, and then the C, and then that way we can go ahead and then look for something that what you will be comfortable with payment wise and location wise. Okay, so that's just a snapshot. So that's the multiple listing service that is for exclusive to the to realtors. Next slide, please. And then I had some for townhomes as well. And then that is the townhomes. We had 360 something plus. And then it tells you, and these are all for when I say San Francisco, Half Moon Bay, these are all within the city and county of San Francisco. So I focus only on San Francisco, but like I said, this can go all throughout the state of California. Okay. Next slide. And then alternative strategies, buying with another household, buying as an extended family. So these are the conversations that I have, because I know that sometimes that it's going to take more than just one income to purchase. And I know that families, and even in the neighborhood that I live in the city and county in San Francisco, that sometimes, and some of the people that I have worked with in the past, is the fact that I put it like this, and I just be blunt about it. People that have been in long-term relationships and they're like, oh, we're in love, blah, blah, blah. And they've been together for years and even decades. And I'm saying, so why aren't you guys purchasing something together? Because you can be building something equity-wise together. So that's something to consider when we say a buying extender, or if you're going to help one person build and purchase and then wait for another, that happens too. So we need to start thinking outside the box sometimes and saying buying as an extended family, or buying with someone that you're already in a committed relationship with, and maybe you guys haven't got married or whatever it is, but that's an option that's going to get you to building your equity, because of the fact that when you purchase a home, you are on the pathway to building equity. If you hold on to it, I mean, we had the downturn in 2008, which we have, that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau under the Dodd-Frank Act have put in measures so that we won't have that again. That's why we have Gregory Pennington, where we have the HUD, the counseling agencies that work hard to make sure that that's not going to happen again, where you're going to be put in a position that you won't be able to sustain home ownership. So once you purchase your home, there are going to be measures to make sure that you won't lose your home, whereas before, where people were able to purchase a home because of the way that they had it set up, that you can get into a home just because you had a credit score, but you didn't really have to qualify, because it said no, what was it? Hey, Harry, what am I trying to say? Where you didn't have no documentation.
No income, no assets.
Income and no documentation. All you have to do is have a good credit score. What does that really make sense? I've been around for a long time, and I was just kind of like, wow, are you serious? You don't have to have no income no documentation. It was only based upon your credit score. And I have nothing against different professions, but they said, and they could say, a landscaper could say he was making 200,000, but he had good credit. That's all he needed, is to show that he'd have to show his income, because he could, show that he had the income, and that was it. It was just bananas back then. So they have put things into place so that that won't happen again. So that I know that some people, and I know people that went through that lost their homes, and you may have, and so you're kind of like, I knew people that lost that. So you coming into this, you were apprehensive about wanting to get into home ownership because you knew people that lost that, but you can't look at someone else's circumstances of what happened then as to what happened now, because they have put measures into place, and Harry will speak to that about disclosures and everything else, that the federal is not playing, that they want to make sure that if you get into home ownership, that it's going to be sustainable. Okay, next. And then I went over search tools, so I'm not going to spend any more time on that, because I went over that about the MLS and the search, the search tools. Okay, go to the next slide. And then making an offer. Falling in love with a home, seller wants earnest money deposit, down payment, finance amount, important dates, inclusion in home. Offer will be accepted, counter offer, or decline. So there's a lot of things that come into play when making an offer on a property. And so those are things that myself, realtor that you are working with, that you will that will get you through this, and your the lender. That's why it's so important that when Harry speaks about the mortgage finance piece, and having a team that's going to be there to hold you through this whole process, because this is one of the biggest purchases that you are making in your lifetime. When you purchase a home, I mean, this is like no other. I mean, when I purchased my first home, I can, like I said, my broker, he probably thought I just was just like bugging him, because I called him on every little thing, because I wanted to make sure that and this has been decades ago. I date myself, and I didn't about other properties, invest in other things, because I know the value. But if it's not home ownership, anything that you are going to put into, whether it's stocks, your retirement, you are going to have to look at the whole picture in where you at now and where you want to be at for your future. And I don't know anything that is going to get you there. Home ownership is one of the cornerstones, of course. And then if you are a wage earner, then you need to consider about your 401k and putting all that you can in that. And then also, making sure that you are looking at other life insurance and all those vehicles. Those all play a part in the bigger picture of what's going to sustain you when you get ready to retire. But we know that home ownership, I know Harry and everybody, the people that know that home ownership, when it comes to refinance and my children down the line, college and everything else, that was a major part of me being able to make the choices that I made. Next slide. And what makes an offer more appealing? Find out the seller priorities, sell your best features, be flexible, work with a reputable realtor, as I say, with lenders who are experienced in the programs you will be utilizing. Pre-approved letter, not pre-qualified. Harry will talk about that in a second. Let me see what my timeline. Oh, I'm doing good. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm almost finished, so I can hand this over to my colleague who's going to give you some valuable information. But it is important that who you that you work with, because you want to work with people who are going to be able to hear your story, where you're at, to be able to put you on the pathway. And I know that everyone has taken time out of their evening to be on this call is interested in making that journey into homeownership. And don't let nobody tell you, oh, interest rates are up, or the market is high in Bay Area and everything else. They could have told that to me when I was purchasing, or when my mom and my dad, who purchased years ago. When inflation, nothing stays the same. You've heard this saying, inflation. If you don't really understand what inflation means, I mean, I remember when I can say, oh my goodness, I'm like, a bag of chips was 25 cents. And now a bag of chips is almost $2.39. I mean, inflation is real. And so that you can't see it, but if you purchase now, and you can say, I can't imagine that my house is going to go up in value. Yes, your house is going to go up in value. So if you take out the time now to do what it takes to purchase your home now, I guarantee you that you will be able to, your future generations will be able to benefit from that. If you don't have children, or whoever you want to hand it down to, or if you want to give it to a charity or your church, I see that. I belong to a church. I see it, and that people leave stuff to their churches, to their organizations. I see it all the time. I belong to different organizations. I sit on boards, and it happens. So you can decide what you want to do, but far as homeownership, it is truly a cornerstone to build a sustainable equity. Next slide. And getting pre-approved. So I'm going to be handing it over to my lender now. So choosing a lender, filling out a loan application, approved documents, pay stubs, bank statements, tax return, proof of employment, and 580 plus a credit score. And then I'm going to hand this over now to Harry Payne, who is our mortgage professional. He'll tell you how long he's been in business, but I want to thank you all for taking time to be in on this call to receive this valuable information, and for Homeownership SF for taking out the time to realize that the value of putting you on the pathway to homeownership. So I hope that you will go ahead and take this information, do your HUD counseling. It's going to make you so more sophisticated about this whole home ownership journey, and we look forward to working with you, or you working with a realtor that is going to put you on the pathway. Thank you. And that's Harry Payne. And Harry, you want to take over? You want me? I'll go ahead and read Harry Payne's bio, and then he can take over from there. So me and Harry have been working together for a super long time, and he is one of my I work with you got to have your go-to lenders, and Harry Payne is one of my go-to lenders. So Harry Payne is currently the divisional sales manager of San Francisco primary residential market. He has been over 30 years of experience developing innovative, high-quality mortgage service programs and financing solutions to foster solid industry partnerships, drive business, ultimately cultivate client satisfaction, success, and loyalty. Prior to joining the primary residential market team, Harry demonstrated a proven success in diverse areas of real estate and lending service, which includes corporate relocation as a national mortgage broker, a retail mortgage consultant, and facility builder sales. Harry's commitment to create excellence in the lending community was his driving force in founding a successful mortgage company in St. Louis, Missouri. His company, Global Mortgage Services, specialized in corporate relocation, which totaled an annual production of $75 million to $125 million. His expertise, knowledge, and steadfast dedication to customer service enable him to successfully engage his clients and provide them with superior personal and specialized service to successfully meet their needs. And I want to introduce you. There you go, Harry Payne. You take it over.
Well, thank you, Sister Marie, and welcome everyone that's on this Zoom meeting today. I want to first of all thank Homeownership San Francisco for the opportunity to be able to spread the word, to get the information out. to our community, because that is the difference. We've all heard that knowledge is power. It truly is. And you will see that by the end of this presentation. I will be talking about the different down payment assistance programs that are available out there, what they require in terms of qualifying for them. And the first thing I'm just going to say right off the bat is what Gregory mentioned, and that is the HUD approved homebuyer workshops. I need all of you all who are interested in down payment assistance, no matter if it's city, county, or state, to be able to provide a certificate of completion from a HUD, specifically, everyone, because there's a lot of folks that do homebuyer workshops, but we need you to go to a HUD approved homebuyer workshop and get a certificate of completion that you have completed that workshop. And that certificate will be good for a year, everyone, before you would have to retake. So as long as you bought within the next 12 months, once you've got your certificate, you are able to access all the different city, county, or state down payment assistance. Can we go to the first slide, please?
And while we're in the interim, just to let everyone know, the chat room is open for questions. When we end, we're not going to interrupt Harry, but if you've got questions, put them in and we'll try to squeeze them in before the end of the hour. Thanks, Harry.
Thank you, Gregory. All right.
Is this the slide?
If it's the first one after my bio, then yeah.
Okay, yes.
Okay, thank you, Ernest. So let's first talk about what down payment assistance programs are. You know, I get calls from clients interested in buying, and one of the things that they always say to me is, Harry, what first-time home buyer programs can I be eligible for? First-time home buyer programs. And you know, they really have it in their minds that we're talking about certain loans, for example, versus what we're really talking about is actual cash assistance towards down payment and or closing costs. So when we talk about down payment assistance, in this case, down payment assistance programs, we use the term DAPS in our industry, DAPS, down payment assistance programs. And DAPS are offered by many counties throughout California, as well as the state of California, statewide DAPS. They're designed to provide down payment and closing cost assistance to first-time home buyers or existing homeowners who want to buy a new primary residence. There is one statewide program that you do not actually have to be a first-time buyer to still get down payment assistance. And we can talk about that later. But let's first make sure everybody has a clear understanding of what a first-time home buyer is. So by default, a first-time home buyer is someone who's never bought a home, right, everybody? So that's kind of easy. But what most people don't realize is that if you have not, you could have bought before, but if you have not owned any real estate in the United States in the past 3 years, you also qualify as a first-time home buyer. Therefore, have access to these down payment assistance programs. So again, never bought or have not owned any real estate in the last 3 years. So please spread the word on that. Moving forward, each county's grant programs are specific and normally tied to the AMI, which stands for Area Median Income. Median is, everyone, is the halfway mark, meaning 50% of everybody is at this number and 50% of everyone is below this number. That's the median number versus an average, for example. So when we're talking about the area, we're talking about the county. For whatever county you're looking to purchase in, you know, that specific county's grant programs or down payment programs may in fact be tied to the area median income. And if you meet that number or below that number, you would be eligible for that particular county's program. A lot of the county programs do include household members. So, you know, that's something in consideration. We're talking about household members who are adults and have income coming in. There are also scenarios with county programs where if you're in a particular geographic location, so let's say, for example, there's places in East Oakland, as an example, there's places in San Francisco, where the, where it's more socially, social economics are on the lower end. So in those locations, you can make as much money as you want if you're buying in those tracts, because the idea behind that is to create a blend of community where you have people who are in the middle income, upper middle income, higher income, as well as people in the lower end, all being able to live in the same community. So that's what that whole geographic location tracts thing is all about. Moving forward, now most, if not all, state and county down payment assistance programs require that your lender and your loan officer to be certified to offer that program to their buyers. So if you're not being offered any of these down payment assistance by your current lender that you may have been pre-approved with, I'm going to let you guess what the reason is. Their company and or themselves have not been approved. For whatever the reason, they're not approved. And I talk to a lot of clients who says, well, Harry, I already spoke with a lender. They've already pre-approved me, but they're not offering me down payment assistance. They're telling me it's more complicated, or they're telling me whatever. They're just giving them him and the hom, right? And the reality is they're just simply not approved. And so they're trying to get you off that subject matter. So it's very important when you're talking to your loan officer to inquire, to ask, are you approved with these different down payment assistance programs? And if they say yes, then you can ask them, what programs are they approved for? And what could they therefore offer you as a buyer? If they say no, then you already know if that's something that you're in need of, meaning down payment assistance, you're with the wrong lender. You need to move, talk to your realtor, someone like Marie, and Marie will tell you what loan officers are approved for these different programs and get you over to the right person. Typically, though, with the city and county programs, everyone, with the different housing agencies, you need to build in, and your realtor would be the one, doing this on your behalf in your offer. You typically need to build in another 2 weeks on top of the typical 30 days it takes to close a real estate transaction. And that's because they have their own underwriting process generally. So you get approved by me or your lender, but then you have to also be approved by that city or county down payment program agency. And so that normally typically adds on an additional week to 2 weeks. So just kind of heads up on that, be aware of that scenario. Can we go to the next slide, please? Now, one of the things that I am big on is using the statewide programs. And you'll see why in a moment. The two in particular that I utilize is the Golden State Finance Authority. They have two down payment programs called the Open Doors and also Platinum Grant. And you see there, I have their website address on there. It's GSFA, the word home.org. So I invite any of you all to go and visit their website to find out the more details on on the programs that they're offering regarding Open Doors and Platinum Grant. And they do also, one of the things that Golden State offers that most of the others do not, is they will in fact provide down payment assistance on homes, not just single family homes, but also duplex, triplex, and fourplex homes. And that's a rarity when it comes to down payment agencies. Additionally, I kind of mentioned this in the previous slide, they also don't require you to be a first-time home buyer. You can, in fact, as long as you're buying the home as your primary residence, the home you'll be living in, you also are eligible for their down payment money. So that's the one. And again, they are statewide. So anywhere in California that you want to buy you could utilize the Golden State Finance Authority's programs. The second program that I utilize more is what we call CalHFA, which is the California Housing Finance Authority. And you can just Google them, just literally Google CALHFA, CalHFA, and you'll see the website. It'll take you right there. But CalHFA, can we go to the next screen, please? So before we go deep into the dig into CalHFA, let's finish up with the Golden State Finance Authority's Open Doors program. So first of all, they will provide up to, and this is on conventional loans versus FHA, slightly less. They'll provide up to 7% of your loan amount for down payment and or closing costs. So you can break that 7% up. You can do 5% of it towards down payment, the remaining 2% towards your closing costs. Now, I will tell you that the more that you're asking from them, the higher their interest rate is. So me as a lender, I'm not able to dictate or even, work with you on rate, because these down payment agencies, they publish their own interest rates, and that's based upon how much you're asking for. So again, they'll do up to 7%. One of the nice things that I like about Golden State Finance is that typically they will forgive. So if you ask for 5%, as an example, of your loan amount towards down payment and or closing costs, they'll forgive 3 of that 5 and only ask you to repay the remaining 2% of how much they gave you. So that's kind of a big deal, because most of the other programs, they want all their money back, 100%. Where the Golden State program, they just want 2%, generally speaking, out of even up to 7%. In terms of the type of loans you can do with them, you can do all the typical traditional loans that are out there. That you can do FHA financing, you could do VA financing for our vets, or you can do Freddie Mac, conventional loans. Unlike Fannie Mae, you may have heard the expression Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They're the 2 government agencies that buy from us lenders all of the conventional loans. Well, with the case of Golden State, they're not working with Fannie Mae. They're only working with Freddie Mac. And again, as I mentioned before, you can buy up to a 4-unit home, anywhere from a single to a 4. In terms of credit score, they're only looking for a 640 credit score, everyone. So if we are at 640 or better, we're eligible for this money we're talking about right now. And currently, you're able to purchase, in terms of loan amount, they will lend you up to $647,200. Now, let me say this: 2023, we're going to have increased loan amount numbers. Each year, the lending industry increases based upon cost of living, or inflation, if you will, but cost of living in each market, they increase the loan amounts. So we've already been actually given the new loan amounts. So that's $647,200 we're looking at now as of 2023. And lenders like my company right now, we're actually now able to qualify people on the upcoming 2023 numbers, which is going to be $714,000, everyone. So instead of only being able to borrow up to $647,000, you'll be able to borrow up to $714,000. That's the loan. That's not the price, because you're going to have down payment. So it'll be price minus down payment equals your loan amount. And what I'm telling you right now is that you're going to be able to borrow up to $714,000, which is a big deal. One of the things, question? Okay.
I said, no, that's a big deal.
Yeah, particularly in our market, right? In the Bay Area.
Particularly in the Bay Area market, definitely. And I just want to for Harry, because Harry goes above and beyond. Like, I mean, we've had deals where it's like when he looks at your credit score and everything else, and say if you had car payment. We've done this more than a few times where it's like, because we always say house before the car, but just in case you purchase your car already, but you've had it for a while, and then Harry will say, well, let's look at that. Maybe we can refinance that, get that payment down. And it's just like, wow, you were able to do that and then be able to free up some more, cash. So I just have to, tell stories like that because I mean, you're always gonna look at your credit and be able to, if it's a rapid rescore or to be able to see where you can, save some money or pay something off. I mean, and those are so important. Or for me, when we look at someone's based upon, I always say, what's your latte factor, where monies that you have been actually spending more on, like your cable bills or your Starbucks and all that other stuff. And I challenge you to, look at your bank statement, pull it up, because we're in this virtual digital world where we're not really paying attention to our bank statements, but to actually, they have it where you can actually say, I need to look at how much I've been spending, and it will calculate everything, and you will say, wow, over the years or this year alone, so you will know where you can pick up some more money to help you to save for your down payment. And Harry is we work together on that, and we're able to strategically to be able to help you so that we can get you into homeownership faster. Sorry about that, but I had to put that just happened. So, and it's just happened. It's like, wow, you were able to refinance somebody's payment and save them $200 or $300, and on a car payment. So okay.
Which is a great point, Marie, because every dollar, everyone, that we're able to save on the consumer credit side, meaning credit cards, car loans, any of the debt that we pay monthly outside of utilities, stuff that show up on a credit report. That's what I'm talking about here, credit accounts. Every single dollar that we're able to reduce on that debt side, we get to put it towards the purchasing power side, meaning purchase price. So that's why it's so important to try to pay down your debts as much as possible, do debt consolidations, when available, and free up that cash flow that Marie was just talking about, so that I can then take that money and apply it towards the new house. So that's why that's important. But getting back to now the Golden State Finance Authority's program, one of the reasons that I like using them, as well as the CalHFA program, is that unlike the local programs that I mentioned earlier, the city and county, you don't need the extra 2 weeks, because us lenders that work with these agencies, we have what's called delegated underwriting and funding. And what that simply means is, when we approve your loan, you're done. They automatically accept our approval, so that you don't have to go back through an underwriting process again with the down payment agency. Secondly, when it comes to your closing day, when we send the money for your loan, we also send the money for the down payment assistance. So we don't have to wait for the down payment agency to send their money, which is typically what happens with the city and county programs. And that's why it takes that extra 2 weeks that I was mentioning previously. So again, you can do 30-day closings with these programs, these statewide programs that we're talking about right now, and make yourself more competitive. Can we go to the next slide, please? Now, I'm going to talk about actually one of my more favorite statewide down payment programs, which is the CalHFA, California Housing Finance Authority. So they have 3 different programs to assist us in terms of getting into homes. They have their My Home Assistance Program. They have this brand new forgivable equity program, builder program, which is tremendous for those that can qualify. And then they also have the ZIP closing cost program. So the My Home is for down payment specifically. The forgivable equity builder is for down payment and or closing costs. And then the ZIP is specifically for closing costs. Can we go to the next slide, please? So the My Home. So the My Home program, what they do is they're giving you a loan, everybody. And that loan, there's no monthly payments for the money that they give you for the down payment, but they do put a lien for that money against your property behind the first mortgage loan that you'll actually be making monthly payments on. When it comes to now, again, there's no monthly payments, but there is a repayment. So when you in the future refinance your home, and or if you sell the house, that's when they want the money in those two situations. With regards to FHA financing, FHA has a minimum required down payment of 3.5%, and that is what they will give you if you're doing an FHA loan under their My Home program. They'll give you that 3.5%. If you're doing a conventional loan, traditionally the minimum down payment is 3%, and in that case, they likewise will give you that 3% down payment. So in both situations, you're only actually having to come up with your closing costs, which guess what, everyone, with the new market where sellers are willing to pay closing costs, you can really go pretty scot-free when your down payment is being covered and the sellers are covering your closing costs. Now, down as far as credit score, once again, just like the GSFA program, you only need to have a 640 or better credit score. Now, some of you all may ask, well, Harry, you know, my credit score is 750. I got great credit. And I would respond to you and say, that is excellent to hear. However, it has no bearing on your interest rate because both agencies, they give their rates are published based upon how much money you're asking for. So a person with a 640 credit score is getting the same rate as somebody with an 850 credit score. So for those of you who are trying to get up to the 700 credit score before you try to buy, you know, you don't need to, is the answer, because you're not hurting yourself at all in terms of rate when it comes to using these down payment assistance programs.
Did you hear that? That's the fact that when you're using down payment assistance programs, this is a totally different ball game, okay? So it's not like you need to have a certain credit score to be able to benefit from these programs. And I wanted you to speak on, because we're talking about down payment or closing costs, about gifts, because I know a lot of times people don't understand what gifts that you can use gift funds and what that looks like if you can, because I'm not sure if we were going to be able to tap into that.
Well, I'll hit that at the end, Marie.
You will?
Okay. Yeah, I'll hit that on the end. Let's just finish talking about the actual programs that are available outside of a family gift. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So again, once again, everybody, the focus needs to be 640. That's where I want you to focus on in terms of getting your credit scores up to. And with regards to credit scores, we have a lot of misnomers in terms of what credit scores lenders use. So I want to stop right here and just kind of briefly talk about that. So when it comes to credit scores, we pull from all three of the credit bureaus. That's TransUnion, that's Equifax, that's Experian. And when we pull those three scores, we find the highest score, no matter what bureau that is, and we find the lowest score, no matter what bureau that is out of those three. And we toss them out, everybody. We toss them out. And what's left is the middle score. So that's how you're going to determine where your score is at when it comes to, you know, getting a mortgage. It's going to be the middle score. Finding the highest score, tossing it out, finding the lowest score, tossing it out, and whatever is left, whatever bureau that might be, that's our middle score, and that's what we're going to be used for qualifying. So please make sure everybody makes a note of that and, you know, spread the news on that, because there's so much misinformation. You know, some people think we use an average of the three scores. Some people think we use a specific credit bureau like Experian or TransUnion or Equifax. None of that is true. We use the middle score, no matter what that bureau is, when we pull all three. So if we can go into the next screen, please. So this is exciting. This is really exciting for me. This is CalHFA's, just came out in April of this year, Forgivable Equity Builder Program. And what they're doing here, everybody, is again, they're putting a lien against the property for the money they're giving us, but look how much they're giving us. They're giving us 10% of the purchase price.
Yes.
So if we're looking at 400,000, that's 40,000. 500,000, that's 50,000. And on, right, everybody?
Yeah.
But the best part about this program, again, once again, there's no monthly payments, right, for this 10%. But the best part is, once you've owned your home for 5 years, they totally forgive that money, meaning that lien comes off your title, comes off the house, and it is never to have to be repaid just by owning it for 5 years. So that 10% of whatever the purchase price was, that's your money, never to have to be repaid if you keep the home for 5 years. So it's a really big deal. And look at that credit score again, everyone. Do we need 700? Do we need 740?
640.
640. 640, everybody. So we just need to get to that 640 score, and that is the magic number for what we need to make happen here. Now, I don't know what's on the next screen right off the hand, but what I will tell you is that in order to be eligible for this specific program, it is income max based. So you can only make a certain amount of money per year. And in this case, it's 80% of the area median income of whatever county you're trying to buy in. So as an example, in Alameda County, Contra Costa County, and I'm pretty doggone sure San Francisco is the same as these two counties, you can make up to $121,880. That's the 80% of area median income. But you need to check that number. You can just simply Google, what is 80% AMI of whatever county? And it will tell you what that income number is. And as long as you make no more than that number, you would be eligible for this 10% forgivable down payment program. Okay, so big deal. Like I said, you know, you're looking at roughly about $122,000 annually to qualify for this. Okay, and again, no payments monthly, and you don't even have to pay it back. It's totally forgiven if you own the home for at least 5 years. So let's move forward, please.
Real quick, we are running a little long, I believe. Are we okay, Chesler and Maria, to keep going? Is that all right? We're only 2 or 3 slides from the end.
Yeah, we can keep going, no worries.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll try to move a little quicker, everyone.
No, you keep doing what you're doing. This is great information.
Okay, thank you. So the last program that they offer is the ZIP, which simply means zero interest program. That's what ZIP stands for, zero interest. Whereas the My Home program that I talked about before, there is a 1% annual interest. So if you got $25,000 under the My Home program, you'd be paying $250 a year, which is no money, everybody, in terms of getting back into a home, right? Getting into a home. So with this, on the closing cost side, they'll give us up to 3% of the total loan amount to be used specifically for the closing costs. Okay, and once again, you see that credit score, that magic number, 640. And it simply has to be repaid, just like with the My Home program, when you refinance or sell the home in the future. Okay, can we move to the next screen, please? Now, things to know about DAPs. Now, first of all, not all counties are considered high-cost areas. Okay, therefore, down payment assistance funds may only allow for up to, for example, with that Golden State program, up to the conforming loan limit of 647,000, which, as I mentioned earlier, is about to go to 714,000. Okay, or it has. It'll be official as of 2023, but many lenders like my company, who we're a direct lender, we're not a mortgage broker, we're a direct lender, we are now utilizing and qualifying people with that higher number. So once again, you know, whereas high cost areas like San Francisco, like Alameda and Contra Costa counties, you can actually borrow up to 970,000. That's not a sales price, everybody. That's the number, that's the loan amount after your sales price minus your down payment equals your loan amount. Okay, so this is, you know, some really high numbers where people can in fact get in and get these down payment assistance programs. Now, in terms of the My Home and the ZIP closing cost program, unlike that forgivable 10% that I mentioned, you get to make up to, last numbers I saw, in Alameda, Contra Costa, and most likely San Francisco as well, you can make up to $232,000 a year and be eligible for this money, for that 3 or 3.5% down payment, and for these closing costs program, the ZIP closing costs. Okay, so that's quite a bit of income.
Yeah.
And as a general rule, everyone, because I know everybody always asks this question of me in the grocery store, as an example, or at a party, they ask, Harry, how much can I qualify for? Now, of course, I don't have their application or anything, but I've learned after 35 years of being a lender now that I found a simple formula that everybody can take with them. And that is, generally speaking, most people can qualify for 5 to 5.5 times their annual income from all sources. Okay, so remember those numbers, everyone. 5 to 5.5. So if you're making 100,000, that means you're looking at being able to qualify for a home price of 500 to 550,000. Now you may ask, Harry, what's the difference between those that qualify for 5 times versus 5.5? And that is your debt. If you know you got a lot of monthly debt, like a $900 car loan and credit cards, if you're up 900 plus over 1,000 in monthly debt, just credit card and car loan debt, you're going to be 5 times. But if you have low to moderate debt, you know, you're around the $500, all your payments come up to about 500, 600 maybe max, you'll be able to do 5.5 times your annual income. So that's the difference. But that's just a real simple formula everyone can take hopefully away from tonight's webinar. We also want to check each county's loan and income limits. Believe it or not, everyone, each county actually has a different, not all, but you know, so like Alameda and Contra Costa County, you can go up to 970,800 in Alameda, Contra Costa, and San Francisco. But if you go to Solano County, or if you go to San Joaquin County, which is where Stockton is, or if you go to Stanislaus County in the Central Valley, those loan limits are much lower, everybody. So it's important to Google. I hate to just keep advertising Google right now, but it's the easiest way for any of us to find out. We can just Google what is the maximum FHA loan limit for whatever county we're looking at. What is the maximum conventional loan limit for whatever county we're looking at? Okay, everyone? So that's what we want to do. All counties are not alike. So if you start off in San Francisco or Alameda or Contra Costa, and then you go into one of these other counties like Solano or San Joaquin County, you're going to mess yourself up because those loan limits won't be there, even though you got approved for that higher number. You won't be able to use that higher number in those particular counties. So make sure you and your realtor, which is something Marie always does as an example.
We've been through that before, Harry, right? Okay.
Exactly. So we're not going
to, we gotta readjust. So we're looking at Solano or San Joaquin, Stockton, which their rates are going up now. I mean, meaning the property values. And so San Joaquin, Stockton, Tracy, and all out there. So, but we got to make sure that when we're using these programs, that now we're looking at and based upon that. So definitely.
Yeah, so we would very much, again, when it comes to the county and city down payment program agencies, check their website, everyone, and see if there are any designated census tracts where income limit is not applicable. Again, that's something that a lot of people don't even understand that's out there. You can make $1 million a year and get down payment assistance if you happen to be buying in some of these census tracts, everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is so true. That's something that we need to, because the fact that we know, we're just talking about minorities specifically and people of color that, and so that they have census tract and Harry tracks that as well. So it doesn't matter. Like he says, if you fall into those, those census tracts, it could be $1 million or whatever it is, but it qualifies for the down payment assistance regardless of the area.
How much you make.
And how much you made. Absolutely. Yeah.
And as you said, regardless of the average median income for that. And lastly, again, as I mentioned before, everyone, please check and ask any loan officer you're working with if they are certified in the different down payment programs that you're interested in using, because that you're just wasting your time.
Missing out on money.
You're missing out on money. Is there? I believe that's almost the last screen there.
Let's see, Gregory. Is that who's Leslie?
Leslie.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the resources, everybody. So here's again with Google now. You can just Google this stuff, but here's the actual website addresses for CalHAFA, which is calhafa.ca.gov. The Golden State Program, which is GSFA, their initials, the word home.org. And then I also included programs that HUD has on their website by county through the whole state of California. You can see county by county what programs are available. And on that note, I want to thank everyone again for joining us this evening. Maria and I both are very much looking forward to hopefully having an opportunity to speak with you about your specific situation and what kind of money that you would be eligible for. And in terms of, I just want to make something clear, everybody. You do not already have to have your certificate of completion from that HUD-approved homebuyer workshop before speaking with us. You can do that after speaking with us, after getting numbers. We want to do it before we go into contract. So it's not one of the to-do items while we're in contract, because there'll be enough there. Thank you all. Again, thanks Homeownership San Francisco for the opportunity, and very much looking forward to creating more homeownership and creating generational wealth within our communities. Thank you.
This was incredible. Marie, would you mind putting your information in the chat room real quick?
I will go ahead and put that in. And then thank you, because I want to make sure, I know that, this is your time. We respect everybody's time, but we know that this information is valuable, and we want to thank Gregory, Leslie, and if I miss anyone else from Homeownership at SF, I'm going to go ahead and put, I think I have something in here. Let's see, show chat. Let's see.
And while you do that, can you go to the next slide, please?
All right, let's see, participants. Okay, this is where I need to go to, because I don't know if you guys are, okay, here we go. And then I think I did put Control B. Let's see.
And I put Harry's information in the chat room already.
All right, okay, this is mine.